Visualize yourself 5 years from now. What have you been able to accomplish? Are you $1 million insurance agent? What does your housing situation look like? How about the car you drive or the money you've set aside for your kids' college education? Heck, what caliber restaurants fill up your date night circuit? Can you see it? Can you feel it? You can get there, and it's all possible if you practice the right daily habits, the same ones that $1 million insurance agents begin with every day. Once you do, you'll be one step closer to achieving the book of business and the lifestyle you desire. I'm lucky enough to work with and know a lot of $1 million agents. I see what makes them successful. You want to know their daily habits? I'll share those with you right now, but quickly before I do, I'd love it if you let me know in the comments below what you think is the #1 daily habit that moves the needle for high-performing salespeople. Hit pause and let me know before we continue. All right, now let's uncover those $1 million habits. Habit #1, read. Whether it's fiction or nonfiction, it doesn't matter. Just get your brain working and thinking. This is the first thing that I do when I start my day, before our work day actually starts, maybe 30 minutes before. I'm reading. Right now, I'm currently reading American Prometheus, which is the book that the movie Oppenheimer is based on. So it doesn't have anything to do with insurance, but it's interesting to me. And it gives me something interesting to discuss with other people, which is another benefit of reading. To have dialogue with people, you're going to learn interesting things no matter what you're reading. And sometimes they can apply to your daily business. You can use them as starters for engaging social media posts, all kinds of things. So it sharpens the blade, as Stephen Covey would say. So make sure that that is the first thing that you're doing every day. Habit #2, give, promote, and praise. This is something that you can easily do now on social media. You can comment on other people's posts. One of the first things I do is I open LinkedIn and I just scroll through my home feed to see what other people have posted. And I find something interesting, something that would be valuable to the people that I'm trying to develop deeper relationships with, because that's what social media is really about. And I comment on those posts. Or maybe I'll share that person's post. I did that with Brent Kelly this morning. He had a fantastic walking and talking post where he was talking about setting expectations. And I had literally just written a blog post, or rather recorded a video myself about setting expectations. So it was something easy that I could share, and it gives him more exposure, which is a great thing. And I'm going to talk more about that giving part in a second. Promote someone out of the blue. You know, it's so easy to find posts, but you can also create your own post and say, hey folks, just thinking about this person earlier today, you need to know them. Here's why. If you're not connected with them on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever it is, highly recommend that you learn what they're doing, because they're doing amazing things. Promote somebody. You'll be amazed how much that comes back to you in spades. Another thing, and I talked about this recently in a blog post that I wrote, but recommend someone, especially on LinkedIn. And this is a great thing to do out of the blue, because oftentimes people are just, you know, they're asking to be recommended, or they're recommending somebody else just because they want someone to recommend them. Or maybe they won't even do it first. They just ask instead of giving first. Find somebody, one person a day or even a week, and recommend that person on LinkedIn out of the blue, and send them a message and say, hey, just want to let you know I was thinking about you. You came to mind, and I want to let everybody know how much your relationship means to me. Send someone a "this made me think of you" text out of the blue. Think of what that could do for you. I get those sometimes from friends, and those are the relationships that I feel are the deepest, and that's going to help you develop those relationships that are ultimately going to turn into transactions for some of them. For more ideas like this on how to give, you can download something that I put together called 5 Ways to Provide Value Before Asking for Anything in Return. Just go to agentsgrowthacademy.com/value, because that's what you're providing, value. All right, habit #3, create. Create. This is something that my buddy David Carruthers talks about a lot. As a matter of fact, he wrote a book called The Dirty 130. I'll put a link in the description for you if you want to check that out. But it's all about creating content. You've heard it before. Content is king. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm creating something that hopefully is going to be valuable for you and other people. It gets you noticed, and it gets you to a point where you're seen as an expert in your field, because you don't have to do it on video like this. This takes a little bit of extra work, right? But it could be social media posts, creating, a well-written post on LinkedIn, Facebook, whatever it is. Or writing a blog, or creating some eye-catching graphics that start questions that you can post on social media. Just create something. Short videos work really well, like a couple of minutes or shorter, or even longer ones like this, because it really engages people when they see something moving in their feed, right? That's what people want to stop. That stops the scroll, so to speak. LinkedIn post. Try a LinkedIn poll. A blog post, as I mentioned. You want to build an audience, right? A captive audience of people who are in your target market, or of people that you just want to surround yourself with. More people like a certain type of demographic, right? If you're trying to attract, contractors, if you're writing insurance and you want to write more contractor insurance, or restaurant owners, find those people, create content that adds value to them. And over time, what you also want to do is build an email list to send that content that you're creating out to that target audience. All right, habit number 4, call one person every day. Now, you might start out and this is one person every week, but call someone. It's different from emailing, whether it's a client, a prospect, a colleague, or a carrier rep. This habit is about constantly developing relationships. And as you know, in this industry, relationships is what it all boils down to. There's a fantastic book that you need to go read if you haven't read it. I'll put a link in the description. It's called Never Eat Alone by Keith Ferrazzi. And he covers all manner of ways to develop deeper relationships with people by systematizing it and making it habits on a daily basis. Calling is way different than emailing. It's now become the thing that we think is special, just like getting a letter in the mailbox used to be. So call someone and see how fast that relationship builds over time. All right, habit number 5. Make one introduction a day. And again, if you need to start out on a weekly basis, that's fine. But this is something that I learned from the master himself, Josh Taft. He and his company produce the podcast of Agents Growth Academy. This is another form of giving, but probably the most powerful. To make an introduction to someone else, you're creating a relationship for that other person that you're introducing. It may not benefit you right away, but over time, the more introductions you make, the more opportunities you create for others to want to return that favor, especially in the form of a sales referral. Okay, there's 3 keys to making valuable introductions. Number 1, keep them brief, preferably through email, just a few sentences. Number 2, you want to explain why there might be value for them to know each other. So for example, Bob, who's an alcohol distributor and maybe a client of yours, hey Bob, I think you need to know Jay, who owns the fancy restaurant downtown. You see, it's just something simple like that they could immediately tell where they might be able to find value in knowing each other. Then number 3, leave it up to them. Don't keep yourself involved. They know who to repay when the time is right. You just want to get in there, make that introduction, and be selfless about it. I guarantee you the karma cops will come after you in a good way. Now that you've learned the habits of million-dollar insurance agents, you might be wondering what other strategies you can use to skyrocket your sales. Well, my friend, you'll want to watch this video right here. Now, it's time for you to go out there and practice those million-dollar habits. Until next time, grow big or go home.